Welcome to Western Wisconsin Journal. I'm Bobbi Pominville, and I'm your reporter on the arts, all kinds of arts. And today, I think I really have an expert here to talk to. And it's Leanne Pomplas. She is the Arts Engagement Director at the Phipps. And I've always gone to those galleries, and I've always enjoyed that. And by the way, have you been there a year now?
Just over a year. Mm-hmm.
Just over a year. Yeah. So we want to welcome you. It's your first time on this particular show. Mm-hmm. And I know people will want to get to know you.
Excellent.
So would you please give us a brief resume of your degrees?
Yeah, so I have an undergraduate degree from Barnard College in New York, and that's in architecture. And then I have a master's in art history from the City University of New York, and I also did my coursework for my PhD at City University.
Oh, that is just amazing. I had not expected you to say New York.
Yeah, so I am like a kind of a newish transplant to Minnesota. I live in Minnesota, work in Wisconsin.
Yes.
So just about 5 years ago, I moved from New York to the upper Midwest.
So what brought you to Hudson?
Yeah, so when I first moved to Minnesota, I worked for the city of Eagan doing their exhibition program and also doing arts programming, arts classes for kids and adults. And so I was doing that for a little bit, traveling around, checking out different art locations. And one of the places that I went to was the Phipps. And I was just so impressed with the gallery space and the work that was presented when I came through. And then I saw, the job listing came up for the Arts Engagement Director at the Phipps, and I was thrilled. So I applied, and
that's wonderful.
Here I am.
So you really kind of worked for the city of Eagan.
I did. Mm-hmm.
And then I think I've always thought the Phipps is a great place to work.
It is.
It does offer a lot. Mm-hmm. And we didn't always have all those galleries. Really? And they have been improved.
Yeah.
So
we
I'm glad.
We added another gallery too in the lobby now. Next time you're there, down by the black box, there's a new lobby gallery. There's a space that needed some art. So.
Well, that's wonderful. So now wait, is it 5 or 6?
So now it's 7.
7? Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness. And of course, I like the upstairs one. Oh, the overlook?
Yes. Beautiful.
That's the view that I just adore.
And really, the galleries were such a draw for me. They're museum quality galleries, and it's just delightful to show art there.
And that's a big job when you talk about choosing the artist.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't imagine. I think you have a jury.
We do, something? Yeah. So we do an annual call for art. So a call for art goes out. Artists respond and submit their work, and then we go through a jury process with a group of volunteers, our Visual Arts Council, who love doing this, along with myself. And we look through the work and kind of go through a couple different iterations of jurying, narrowing down the pool of artists, and then finally looking at, we spread everything out, look at all the different images and see what might work well together, because we do normally solo shows throughout the galleries. Sometimes artists are paired together or they have come as a group, but we have to look at how everything goes for each of the galleries, so how one gallery flows into the other. So that's the really fun part.
Well, that I would think it would be a little stressful.
It can be stressful. It just depends on how your brain works.
Well, good then. You've got that under control. So, and we're going to talk about the Members Spotlight exhibition, and it's running right now.
Yeah. So it just opened on Friday, and it runs through December 8th.
Yes.
And we have 88 member artists.
Really?
Yes.
That's a big exhibit.
How cool is that, right? And we have over 150 artworks. So it's a bigger show than it's been in the last few years. And we have longtime members, people who've been members for 30 years. We have people who just joined because they wanted to put their work in the show, which is also wonderful. We have an artist who is 96 and we have one of our artists who had been in our high school art exhibition and now is a member of the Phipps.
Oh my.
And put their work in. So it's just an incredible kind of array of work. And
That's so good to hear.
Right.
So someone is still working on their art. So the galleries, now you told me there's 7.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Wow. I've lost count since 5. And one of the new ones that is by the Black Box.
Yeah, so that is, we're calling it the lobby gallery.
Okay.
And it's a gallery wall. It's not like a walk-in gallery. But what we have there now is really fun. It's an artist, her name's Bobbi Keith, and she has a few collections, like small groupings of work, and they are inspired by our productions. So there's a group of works that are inspired by Prancer, which is coming up, our holiday show.
Yes.
There's a group of paintings that were inspired, either the content, like visually, or the title somehow tied in to Transylvania, Drowsy Chaperone. And so it's just such a great combination of like theater and visual art. And Bobbi Keith is also, they were one of the actors in Drowsy Chaperone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And the work is super fun and thematic. And we'll do, so once we, in the new year, there'll be a whole new set of paintings that correspond to the upcoming shows.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
So she's going to continue?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
So that's kind of my thought for that space, is to tie it into our theater season.
Yes, I think that's great.
Yeah, and so when people are kind of hanging out, one of the things I love about the Phipps, right? People come for a production and they browse the galleries. And it's just, so fun. Just Friday when we had our opening, people were there for Transylvania, and we capture those people who might not seek out an art museum or an art gallery, but they're there for a production and they walk through and they have that experience. And I think that's really the strength of the Phipps, is creating this community, not like around all the arts, right? So yeah, but for sure that lobby gallery is connecting to our theater productions.
I could just see the moms and dads and grandpas and grandmas, and then they're going, "Oh no, I won't be going to the gallery," and they're like, "Wait a minute, what's that over here?" And they're drawn in like I was to the atrium gallery.
Yeah.
I was just at a show yesterday. We talked about it. I'm immersed in it, but I think it's really neat that you're drawing in new people.
What's really fun too about the member show is when I hung the show, I like to create little moments, right, where there are things that maybe go together by color or theme, but maybe wouldn't necessarily go together and are of different styles, right? Yeah. So that maybe you might be drawn to something like a beautiful, like Monet's garden, right? And so you come into that, but maybe there's something that you would have never looked at otherwise that's hanging next to it. And so then you kind of bring this fresh eyes and kind of an open heart to the other work that you might not necessarily have stopped for, and that creates a really kind of engaging experience. Mm-hmm.
There's pieces I don't understand, but I think that's wonderful how you're drawing people in. And then, do you actually have an artist talking sometimes at the open house or whatever?
Yeah, we do. Not every show, but we do.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's kind of fun too.
I love that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and people, engage with art in so many different ways, right? Like, some people just want to look at it. Some people want to read more about the artist process, which we always have in our galleries, like our rack cards, so you can learn a little bit more. And then some people like to hear the artist talk about, how they've come to their ideas. And so just providing all of those ways to engage, I think, is so important and so fun. I mean, I love artist talks.
Should we give the hours of the galleries?
Sure.
I wrote it down. Do you have it?
Yeah, so we're open Monday through Saturday, 9:30 to 9:30.
Yes.
And then Sunday from 12 until 5.
There's so much to talk about today. But anyway, I thought about the Enriching Arts program because I've always loved it.
Oh, yeah.
And I've experienced it in different facilities in this area.
Yeah. Yeah, so right now we have 3 off-site locations where we show art through the Enriching Arts program.
Okay.
So it's Woodland Hill,
Yes.
Croydale
Yes.
in Bayport, and also Westfield's Hospital
Yes.
in New Richmond. Yeah, so
Yes.
those are the 3 that we do right now, and we bring regional artists and their original artwork into those locations, you know.
And it's a little smaller venue.
Yeah,
Up and down the halls or...
Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So they're not like a gallery space, a separate gallery space, but they are in the communal spaces,
Yes.
you know, and meant to lift up the folks who are walking by.
We had an experience at Croydale, my husband and I,
Yeah.
with the art because his brother was there.
Mm-hmm.
And that really helped us.
Yeah.
And I do know it can really do that to people. So I love the way it segues into the people who are ill, not feeling well, etc. And I do admire you for all the work you do to do all that setting up and so on. So I had to say that. But now I kind of skipped through. All right, what's happening at the Phipps for the year starting in January?
Yeah, so actually after the members show, we have another group of shows coming in. So that opens December 13th.
Okay.
And we have, gosh, a bunch of really interesting artists. We have Andy Ness is in Gallery 1, and he's a Twin Cities artist, and he does large canvases that are really layered. There's a lot going on. Sometimes he uses some old drawings. He's used wallpaper and then kind of crazy clashing colors on top and then gold leaf. It's just like so over the top. And it's amazing. But when you like step back, it's really powerful. So I think that's going to look amazing in Gallery 1. We have Sherry Klein and Russell Semereau, who they're paired together. They're both painters, and they approach kind of like color and form a little differently, but complementary. So Russell's like very structured. He uses a lot of geometric forms and color, while Sherry is more gestural, right? Like so big kind of brush strokes and both using bold colors. So I'm excited to see those 2 together. What else do we have? We have Joanne Hendricks, who does kind of mixed media work. So kind of drawings and painting together. So these kind of figural drawings, but then with like large blocks of color, which are really fun. And those are paired with Ingrid Westmeyer, who does some mixed media, like embroidery on paper and like printmaking together. Very graphic, super interesting. Emily Anderson does landscapes, like kind of very recognizable Minnesota or Wisconsin, Minnesota landscapes.
Oh, nice.
So like you see those birch trees and the water, but it's very graphic. So it's sort of flatter colors, like planes of color, really eye-catching. And then Susan Clem is in our Atrium Gallery, and her show is titled Equestrian Therapy. And so there are different portraits of horses, which are lovely. Really lovely. So it's a really interesting group of artists, and I can't wait to see all their work there.
That sounds fabulous. So that starts December 13th?
Yeah, and that goes through, let me see, January 26th.
Okay.
Yeah. And then the galleries are closed for a little while because we're doing maintenance.
Oh.
So those will be closed through the beginning of March.
Okay.
But then after that, we have another group of shows. The Minnesota Artists Association is going to come in, and it'll be their spring juried show. So that'll be fun. All different kinds of media. So that's wonderful. We also have Linda Snoofer, who does botanical prints. Very pretty. Really lovely. let's see, Kat Nottingham, who does kind of oil landscapes. And then Attila Dabasi, who is in the atrium, who does some really interesting found object sculptural pieces. These are going to be more wall hanging works, but they're very chaotic and colorful and interesting. So yeah, I think those are really going to make the Atrium Gallery kind of activate that space a lot.
That wasn't even a space for a while.
That's what I hear.
You probably knew that, but I mean, it's the windows and the sun comes in, or you could look out and see the snow and whatever. And it just kind of segues from I guess what I'm remembering is the children's art was in there.
Yeah, the
that
tropical
was
wings.
So cool.
Where it transforms to a rainforest.
It was the whole thing was a rainforest.
Yes, and we'll do that again this year. So
and I love that because I had taught a lot of elementary kids, and I just thought it's Willow River, I think it was.
It is.
And I know the lady. Oh my goodness, I know her name, but
Lana Schoberg.
Yeah.
Yes. She's the artist who works with the kids.
And it's so impressive what she does, and to bring that all together.
Yeah.
So that was a lot of fun.
And I love having the kids working in the galleries, and we have other kids who come and visit.
Yeah.
And we've had high school students, not just for the high school show, but to come kind of look backstage and go through our galleries. Yeah. I just want it to be a place where people feel like it's part of their community, that they belong there, right? And so
that's a wonderful way to draw them in.
Yeah, and starting at that young age, just come in, come check it out,
True. I just was thinking about our son, and I think he mainly did his art at the high school, middle school and high school. But I was thinking about the ones that aren't that outgoing, and maybe they don't feel like they can do something like that, a production piece. But if they could get in and see some of it.
Yeah.
So, and I think, that's wonderful how you're drawing in the community. I love that, especially the elementary kids.
I know, they're so cute.
So anyway, that sounds like a fabulous show.
Yeah.
So then it won't start up again till March.
Right, so then March through April is that Minnesota Artists Association and those other artists that I was talking about. And then after that is our spring high school art exhibition, which which is wonderful. I wasn't sure what to expect last year, so I got to do it last year for the first time, and I was really so blown away by these young artists in the community.
I agree. What I've seen in other years and other things, other times when I've been to art shows, it's amazing what these kids come up with.
Yeah.
And it's so technical, a lot of it. So, and that's open to high schools in the area.
It is, yeah. So let's see, we put the call out to over 30 different high schools, and we had last year, I think, 15 different high schools, students from 15 different high schools, and some homeschoolers as well. So I've been reaching out to the homeschool community because I want to see their art too.
Great, of course.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just wonderful.
Yeah, and then after that, in the spring, kind of May to July, we have another group of artists. I'll just hit a couple of them. We have Lael McDill, who is another Twin Cities artist. She works with polymer clay, really brightly colored polymer clay. She does sculptural pieces, but they're like completely ornately covered with like tiny pieces of clay that have, within that clay, there are images. So it's incredible. Really beautiful work. Often she'll do teapots or vases, but also some other kind of assemblage work. So like found objects, and then again, mixed with pieces that she creates.
Right.
And they all have these wonderful stories, and very humorous as well. So her work is great. Let's see, who else do we have? We have Paulie Cudd, who is local. He's a glassmaker. And so beautiful richly colored glass, vases, plates, more sculptural work. So that's just going to look gorgeous in the galleries. He actually just did a show at Woodland Hill with his work.
Oh, yes.
So I'm happy to, have his work again in the galleries, for sure. And let's see, we have Sarah Lilia, who will be she does photos of places, but they feel very narrative to me. Like it'll be like peeking through a window, right? And very compositional, very well composed. And it feels like almost like a portal into another place. Or, maybe you're just looking into a room and maybe it's a regular room, but there's something about the way that she frames things that it's very evocative, feels very narrative too.
Yes.
And then at that same time, we'll have the kids again, Lana Schoberg working with the kids from Willow River to make the rainforest. So that'll go through the summer.
Yeah.
And then let's see, what do we have in the summer? Oh, another great, I just love it. Every single show, it's so fun.
Yes.
Like, there's always...
Oh my goodness, the way you're describing them. You got me drawn in for sure.
Let's see. So July through September, I'll just pull out a couple. We have Amy Oath and Mary Bergs, so they are showing together.
Oh.
And so Amy does kind of architectural photos, which really play with color.
Oh, yeah.
And then Mary Bergs she takes photographs, but then she paints on them. And so there are these kind of color blocks on the photographs, and they're just going to look really interesting together. I can't wait to get them, in the gallery together. And then, this time next year, we'll have Annie Hedgney, who is an artist, so interesting. She does these really large-scale paintings. She's very inspired by water and conservation and environmental issues, but she takes water that she collects from places from like Lake Superior and sediment and mixes that with her pigment. Or she takes snow or ice and mixes it together with her paint. So there's kind of bits and pieces of different locations embedded in her work. Wow. And they're very meditative. They're very, watery, and really lovely. So those will be in Gallery 1. I'm really looking forward to that. And then
you're all set for the year.
I know, right? I am so looking forward to all of these shows.
That was a wonderful description. Now, we can't go too much longer, but I do want to talk about the mural on the brick wall facing Vine Street. And it's all of a sudden one day I drove by it and I went, what is that?
Yeah.
And it's so unusual. And how did that come to be?
Yeah, so that was commissioned by the Phipps to kind of commemorate our 40th anniversary.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
Yeah, and so it was a bit of a process. The artist is Thomasina Topbear, and she is a mural artist. She's a Dakota artist as well. Yes. And so we engaged her to do this mural. We wanted to incorporate the different kind of arts that we have at the Phipps. We wanted them all represented. So dance, music, theater, and visual arts. Yeah, so, and then she was trying to understand a little more about the community. So we sent out a survey to our members, and it was available on our social media as well, to kind of gather information about what was important to people and the arts at the Phipps and what it meant. And oh my gosh, the responses were really
unbelievable.
So beautiful. So then she kind of took all of that information and wove those ideas into her design, which also used some of like native imagery from her Dakota culture, and also some elements that just kind of ground the mural in where we live, right on the St. Croix. So the river runs through the mural. There's a dancer, there's curtains from the theater, there's a braid of sweetgrass, and there are monarch butterflies you know, so there are all these kind of lovely elements that
And there's a
come
music
together.
staff.
There is a music staff.
And the notes are done correctly.
They are.
You know, sometimes people put them up or down the wrong way.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first thing I noticed.
Well, you can thank Tom Dolly for that.
Oh, really?
Yes. He's like, if we're going to have music on there, it needs to be correct.
He did do a good job on that one, I have to say.
I'm glad you noticed it, though, because
and
it's
he's
an
so
important
active,
detail.
and he's chairing the music council and all that, so he had to make sure he got that in there.
Yes, and I appreciate that.
So you told me, what does the mural mean, or what is it called?
Yeah.
It's a very odd Native American name.
Yeah, it's a Dakota name. So the name is in both Dakota and English, and so the English title is Generations, the Growth of People.
Yes.
And so the rather long Dakota name is Wichi Ichegahe, which I did a terrible job there, and I apologize. But
no,
you know, I just want
did well.
You know, say it out loud as best I can because the idea is beautiful. So the central image are hands holding up a tree, right?
Yeah.
And so the roots come down,
so
and then the branches go up. And what Thomasina Top-Air, the artist, said was, we're the middle. You know, the roots are what came before us, and then our children and the generations ahead are the branches and the leaves, and we are the middle that connects them and holds it together. Mm-hmm. So I think that's what the title kind of speaks to.
I never ever thought that would appear there, and how it connects everybody. And then once again, you've reached out to the community.
Mm-hmm. Oh yes, and then we have people come and help paint.
That's right.
Yeah. So like anyone who answered the survey, and you know, we just put a general call out for people to come and help paint before it went up.
That
on the
is
wall.
so cool that you had all those people involved.
Yeah.
Congrats on that.
Thank you.
Now, just quickly, I shouldn't say that, but my last question is, what are your goals for the visual arts in the future down there?
Oh my gosh, I want more people in the Phipps.
Yes.
For the visual arts. So
yes.
So since I started, we've added more classes. So we're doing all kinds of visual arts classes now. We have painting, we have drawing, we have our teen art studio where teens can come in and hang out and make art, you know, creating like just a community around art making, right? So, you know, some people are really into sports, some people are into politics. You know, I want our community to have a place where we come together and make art. So we have so many fun things, you know, and then also just getting people to come just to the galleries, you know, not just, you know, for other things, but really creating some events and artwork and ways to engage that kind of reach out and bring people in.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
it could be overlooked, or it could be something people aren't familiar with. Mm-hmm. But yeah, you're doing a wonderful job.
Oh, and volunteers.
Yes. Yeah, I remember when John was here, we used to always talk about volunteers.
Oh my gosh.
Please.
Yes.
If you're interested in any of this, and there's many, many ways to volunteer.
So many ways.
Ushers, whatever.
Yeah, working in the visual arts, dance, music, there are anything that you want to do, we've got something for people to do.
Well, I just have to thank you. I've enjoyed this so much. You and I kind of get on the same level, and I really enjoyed, I've only met you once or twice.
Yeah.
So I really enjoyed you coming today.
It was a pleasure.
And you were really articulate in telling us about all of this. So I want to thank you again.
Thank you.
And I want to thank the audience for watching. Hope you got inspired by some of this talking about art.